The nation's top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, is warning of a, quote, very challenging period ahead as infections surge nationwide. Cases in the U.S. have surpassed 15 million. 1 million of those were confirmed in just the last 4 days. More than 285,000 people have died since the start of the pandemic. On Tuesday, the U.S. took one step closer to a coronavirus vaccine. The FDA says Pfizer's vaccine strongly protects against COVID-19. A panel is expected to meet on Thursday to consider the drug manufacturer's application for emergency use. The FDA's positive review came hours after Britain began administering Pfizer's vaccine to senior citizens. It was the first country to authorize the drug. Charlie D'Agata is in England with the latest.
Margaret Keenan, with one sleeve pulled back, took one historic leap forward. The 90-year-old grandmother became the first person in the world to receive a clinically approved vaccine.
I would say go for it. Go for it because it's free and it's the best thing that's ever happened.
But first, maybe much ado about nothing, when next came, poetically, William Shakespeare of Warwickshire. They were among thousands inoculated today, a mass vaccination the UK government dubbed V-Day, focusing first on those over 80 and the medical workers administering the shots. Oh. A sense of relief, if not celebration, in a country with more than 62,000 COVID fatalities and climbing, one of the highest death tolls per capita in the world, worse than the U.S.
It's important for people to understand that the virus is, alas, still rising in some parts of the country. We can't afford to relax now.
The immediate rollout, 800,000 doses in the days ahead, up to 4 million by the end of the year, distributed initially from around 70 hospital hubs across the UK. Later, more than 1,000 vaccination centers, including converted parking lots, village halls, even libraries. Today's rollout came just days after regulators here gave emergency approval for the vaccine late last week. After isolating for months, Maggie now can't wait to see her family. For the first time, a dream that is now a reality.
And there is news about the Oxford vaccine, too. In a study published in the Lancet Medical Journal, one of the lead researchers told us it was shown to be safe, effective, and, unlike the other vaccine candidates, it may prevent transmission. Elaine?
Charlie D'Agata, thank you. As we mentioned, the FDA could approve emergency use of Pfizer's vaccine as early as this week, and President Trump says when it does, the government will begin mass distribution. Adriana Diaz has the details.
What seemed almost impossible when the pandemic began is now in sight. The U.S. is on the verge of a vaccine. Tonight, FDA scientists say for the first time, Pfizer's vaccine offers Americans strong protection and is indeed up to 95% effective after 2 doses. The report also finds protection begins within 10 days of the first dose, and that it's effective no matter one's race, age, or weight. There are also no serious side effects beyond fever, fatigue, and muscle aches, most of which disappear within 2 days.
We will be able to vaccinate about 20 million people this month and another 20 to 25 million in January.
Hospitals around the country are now also on the front lines of administering the vaccine.
Our biggest worries are making sure that we don't lose any vaccine to storage issues. We want to get as much of that vaccine into people as possible.
Another challenge, complacency.
I know everybody's excited and we'd love to take our masks off by Valentine's Day, but that's just not going to happen.
Some continue to take their masks off, like this Christmas pageant in Missouri and this concert in Ohio. But Americans must be willing to take a vaccine. While a Pew Research survey found that 60% of Americans say they will, Dr. Anthony Fauci told Nora O'Donnell that number needs to be higher.
If we could get 75 to 85% of the people in the United States vaccinated, we could crush this outbreak.
But keep in mind, the White House Coronavirus Task Force warned today about what the vaccine won't do. It will not reduce the speed of the spread of this virus, hospitalizations, or deaths until the 100 million Americans with underlying conditions are fully vaccinated. And Elaine, that's not expected until late spring.
Adriana Diaz, thank you. Dr. Amesh Adalja joins me now. He's an infectious disease expert and senior scholar at Johns Hopkins University's Bloomberg School of Public Health. Welcome, Doctor. Thanks for being with us. As we just heard, the FDA confirmed the Pfizer vaccine is effective, but this is only the first hurdle. What else needs to happen before those first doses are administered here in the U.S.?
Well, we have to wait for the meeting on Thursday, where the advisory group is going to pore over those data, try and understand exactly how effective this is going to be, understand the safety data, and then give the FDA a recommendation on whether or not an emergency use authorization can be issued. And then the hard part comes. That's turning the vaccine into a vaccination and getting it distributed to all of the states and into the arms of Americans.
Well, what are some of the major questions that FDA advisors need to answer before coming to a final decision Thursday?
Everything looks good so far in the data that's been released. So what they're going to look at is how effective is this vaccine overall? How effective is it after one dose? How effective is it after two doses? What are the differences amongst subgroups, the very old, the other populations that are in the mid-ranges, those with comorbidities such as obese patients, patients with diabetes? They're going to look at all of that data to try and come to some conclusion. And they're also going to look at the safety data to see what side effect profile occurs after the first dose and the second dose, what serious adverse reactions occur, and then try and weigh, just like with any vaccine, the risks and the benefits. And I do think on balance, the benefits vastly outweigh the risks from this vaccine. And I suspect they will have a positive recommendation on the Pfizer vaccine, and we will see an emergency use authorization soon after that meeting.
Well, frontline healthcare workers and people in nursing homes will be vaccinated first. And if predictions are correct, the rest of the U.S. population could be vaccinated by the spring. What does that mean for other protective measures like masks and social distancing? How long will those still be necessary?
For the first several months of this vaccine rollout, there's going to be uneven uptake. There's going to be high-risk individuals, healthcare workers, but not the general population. So we likely won't see any change on the mask guidance. And even after some time, we still will probably have cases that are still occurring, because remember, this vaccine is not something that provides what's called sterilizing immunity. You can still you may still be able to get infected asymptomatically, and you still may be contagious. So until we kind of cross that herd immunity threshold of probably 70% or so of the population vaccinated, we likely will see many jurisdictions still wanting people to wear masks, wear face coverings when they can't social distance. I think gradually that will dissipate, but not until we get high vaccine uptake, because this vaccine, like I said, doesn't necessarily mean you can't get infected asymptomatically and spread it to someone. It just means you can't get severe disease or symptomatic disease.
Well, Dr. Anthony Fauci warns cases will get worse after the holidays. What are the biggest stresses or pressure points on our healthcare system right now?
Right now, I think it's what we're seeing is a lot of rural hospitals, suburban hospitals kind of running up against the wall when it comes to ICU capacity, when it comes to staffing needs. And I think that's going to be the norm. Some of the bigger city hospitals, the academic medical centers, they're able to increase capacity. They're able to increase staffing in a way that some of the smaller hospitals can't. So I think that looking forward right now, I'm very interested to see how these smaller hospitals band together, how they get through this, because it's going to be very difficult. We know cases are not showing any sign of slowing down. We know it's going to only get worse as people's pandemic fatigue increases, as people start to think about gathering for the Christmas holiday. And we haven't even seen the full brunt of what happened during Thanksgiving. So I do think we are in for some dark weeks ahead. A lot of people are going to get infected and hospitalized and die before the vaccine is actually rolled out in earnest.
All right, Dr. Amesh Adalja. Doctor, thanks very much.
Thank you.